Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Indie Author Life Show. I'm your host, MG Hunt, and today I'm here with someone who is a well-known presence within the indie author world. She's both a writer and a passionate dreamer who gets so much joy from writing her own stories and encouraging others to do the same. So, welcome to the show, Mandi Kontos, and thank you so much for being here tonight.
Yay! Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. It's weird to be on the other side of a podcast where I'm not the one getting like doing the interview. I'm getting interviewed. So it's
Yes.
really interesting and sometimes I'm like, "Oh God," but I'm
Um,
excited.
I hope it can feel a little bit more relaxing. Like you don't have to think, oh, yes, the lipstick's gone in the teeth. Excuse me. That might be a recurring theme for
I
this
love it.
chat.
I'll tell you, I'll be like, "The lipstick's showing again."
Exactly. So for the listeners who are not watching, I'm wearing a dark lipstick today. So please excuse me
She
if you
looks
hear me.
fabulous, by the
Oh,
way. You should
thank
go
you.
see her. Go watch it on YouTube, just
Go
so you
watch
know.
this. Go watch this YouTube episode and see it for yourself. But yes, there will be a risk of it going on the teeth. But I was so excited to have you on the show because I know you do run your own podcast, and I'm sure it is a different experience to
Yeah.
be on the other end of it. Does it feel more like relaxing in some ways because you don't have to prepare for the chat, or is it a little bit like, okay, now I've got to think about what I'm going to say?
I think the thing is that it's like it's easy to talk. The hardest thing is, as I find as like a host, is actually like I have a short attention span. So like
Hmm.
the struggle is like when people are talking is to make sure that I actually pay attention
Yes.
and like actually then be like, okay, cool, like don't get distracted by something. And then I'm like, what was I saying? What was going on?
Yeah.
So like I always
Oh,
have like
yeah.
set questions and stuff. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
good to have those, so they're the guiding thing. But sometimes I'm like,
Yeah.
uh-oh, what did they
Yeah.
just say? Like, nope, come back, come
Like, oh
back. So
yeah, that's right. And then sometimes you can just go, well, at least I've got those guiding questions and just be like, yep,
exactly.
absolutely. So anyway, moving
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard. I've had like both spectrums of like I know it's completely off topic, but
It's
both
okay.
spectrums of like guests where it's like they just like talk and talk, which is brilliant because like it kind of
Yeah,
naturally flows.
it's
And there
great.
are some where they're like a little bit nervous and they kind of stick to the questions and that's kind of it.
Yep.
And you're like,
Yep.
oh, okay. And there's like no
Hmm.
wiggle room and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Let's move on to the next question. And
Yeah.
like sometimes it naturally progresses to the questions because they kind of answer it, but sometimes it's like, oh, nope. Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's kind of like a good part to both. Sometimes it's like,
Yeah.
all right, if we're sticking to it, cool. We know where we are
Yeah,
right now. There's no confusion. But there's also a great part of it too. It's like, if someone wants to just chat, go for it. I've got no problem with
exactly.
that. I like to sit and
Exactly.
listen, and I think I've got a deep appreciation for listening to how other people experience this indie
Yeah.
author life because it is so unique, but also similar, if that makes sense. There are lots
It's
of
yeah.
parallels.
It's really interesting because it's such a solitary journey essentially.
Yeah.
Like you go through and you do all of the bits and pieces and like you write the book and then it's kind of you get to the publishing part and you're like, okay, what now? And then there's like trying to find your community of
Yeah.
like the people that get it and then there's the people that don't get it. And then like how much of yourself do you show and how much of
Yeah.
yourself don't you show? And it's that kind of really weird balance of trying to understand it all.
Oh, yeah, it's so hard. And I think the only way that I've learned how to navigate this space is with other people. I think I would struggle if I didn't have any other people I could contact either through Instagram or whatever medium to kind of chat about, like, how do I do this by myself? Like, I don't even know what an arc was. So, I should get
Okay.
into one of the questions that I have on my list, which is something that
Let's do it.
I am very curious about. I know a little bit about yourself and background, but I want to hear it straight from you.
Yeah.
So, can you tell me a bit about your background, where you grew up, such and such, and just anything that you want to share about yourself?
Yeah, I guess the hardest part is always knowing where to start and where to
Mm.
kind of like stop to. But I am born and raised in Adelaide, so I actually moved to Melbourne to study, which I started in 2012. So I've done
Ah.
multiple degrees. I have actually done I've done three. So I've got a
Wow.
Bachelor of Arts, where I majored in creative writing and women's studies. I
Nice.
have also done a Bachelor of Writing and Publishing, which is what I actually moved to Melbourne for, because
Ah.
the degree was just epic, and I just there was nowhere else that could do it, much to the dismay of my parents when they're like, "What do you mean you're leaving us?"
I know, because that's a big, I know Adelaide is like an hour and a half flight or whatever, but
Yeah,
like it is a big change to go
yeah.
uproot your entire life. And which uni did you study at when you were at
So
Melbourne?
it's now known as Melbourne Polytechnic. So it was
Oh,
actually a TAFE. So
yes.
at the time it was NMIT, and they like the
Yep.
degree was epic. And I literally got like
Yeah.
was flicking through it because it was a toss up between one in Sydney and one here. And I chose Melbourne purely because I actually had family here.
Yeah,
And
that's good.
so like it kind of helped my case when I was like to my dad, I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And he's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Like, and I'm doing this because X, Y, Z. So my dad was a very strict Greek
Mm,
father. So he was very much like, you can't do stuff. I had curfews. I had like, and to his credit, he was a security guard at the original university that I went to. So like he'd seen a lot of shit. So
yeah,
he
yeah.
like, had gone to the parties where they were the all age parties where he was a security guard there. He'd seen like, people go
Mm,
through and, unalive themselves and all of
it's
that. So like he'd seen
crazy.
quite a bit. So to his
Mm,
credit, like I get it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And when I actually had the balls to be like, I'm going to Melbourne, and he's like, no, you're not. I'm like, oh, too bad. I've already booked the interview and the flights. I'd only got the interview and not the flights. I was literally waiting for him to be like, ah. But then as soon as
Cold
he
jump.
said like, yeah, as soon as he was like, oh, I like ran to my bedroom and I'm like, book, book, book.
Oh, God, you just had to do it.
So I
Oh,
had to do it. And then, yeah, the rest is history. Like I literally have been
yeah.
here for 13 years now.
Yeah, 13
Um,
years.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh
And
my goodness.
so I also have done a master's in creative writing, which I did through the, oh my God, Macquarie University in Sydney. So
Yep.
I did all of that online.
Online,
Um,
yes. Yeah, you didn't have to
yeah, and I
go all the
did,
way to Sydney.
no, I did
Okay.
all of the online stuff before COVID. So like I actually started before everybody jumped online. So it was
Yeah.
really interesting because obviously when they had to pivot, they were like, how is it studying online? I'm like, it's not any different. Like
It's
it's for me,
not
it's
any
the
different.
same. So
Yeah, and with masters in particular, look, I haven't done a master's degree in any capacity, but from what I understand, the coursework is
it's a
a lot.
lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, but the contact hours aren't super intense. Is that right, compared to a bachelor?
Yeah, like it
Yeah.
actually, because essentially, like, the way that like my master's degree worked was we had like an online forum where we had to post like once a week at a minimum.
Yep.
And we had like the touch points of like literally they didn't care when they would put the lectures up. They
Yep.
didn't care when you watched them as
Yeah.
long as you did.
Yep.
And that you could answer everything in that week. So like
Yeah.
you had a week to do everything, so all the readings, all of that.
Mm,
And then you kind of went from there. So that was a really interesting and
that's great. Yeah.
like I did it part-time too because I was like, I'll try and do
Yeah.
it full-time, but I don't think I could ever do study full-time ever again. I don't know
No.
how I did it
Yeah.
going between the bachelors because I did it for both of them.
Oh,
Um,
okay. With bachelors as well. Ooh, that's a
yeah, so I did them
lot.
both full-time, not at the same time. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I did the Bachelor of Arts in Adelaide when I finished school and went straight into it.
Yeah.
And basically that's I kind of discovered that I really loved writing when I hit probably I was like 14. Like I
Mm.
actually hated anything to do with English and reading until I was 12. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
So you
I
weren't a big reader until you were
no, I
maybe like
was
just a preteen.
yeah, I actually so I credit this to one of my aunties who bless her little soul. I love her to death, but she was very much the single auntie who at the time was very like she loved books, she loved literature, she loves everything like that. And I was the oldest out of all of the like little cousins and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
she would
Yep.
I was always really, really close to her and we would do a lot of things together and every year in a present she'd be like, here's a book. Here's a
Oh,
book. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like,
don't
I'm never
worry.
gonna read this. Like she just every present came with a book. And it wasn't
Ah.
until I got Tomorrow When the War Began by John Marsden when I
Hmm.
was 12 for Christmas, and I was like, "Oh, look, what's the harm?" And I opened it, and that was it.
That
Like
was
that
it.
changed my entire life. I read that book and discovered that, oh, this reading thing is actually not that bad.
It's actually
And
fun.
I fell in love with the story, fell in love with Ellie and all of the world that is that, and then
Yeah.
discovered that it was book one of seven or six or
Yeah.
whatever it was.
Oh,
And I like, oh my God, I just literally, it would be the thing that I was still in primary school. So
yeah.
I was in my last year and I started reading them. And it would be the thing where like mum would be like, okay, what are we doing? I'm like, I need the next book. And she's
Yeah.
like, okay. So
All
we
right.
go and buy the next book. And then it took me a little bit of time. Like I'm much faster as I got older, but like it would
Yeah.
take me maybe like a month to get through the book,
Oh, still,
which
it's
is
pretty
fine.
fast.
And like I was doing it, yeah, I was doing it between like, going to school
Yeah.
and, all
Everything
of the
else.
extracurricular. Like I loved playing netball and softball as a kid. So I used to
Mhm.
like,
Yep.
when we would
Yep.
drive to
The
the
games and all
away
that.
games and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I would be like in the car because my mum, we'd go with like a friend who would be playing with us too. So I'd sit there in the car with like my little book
Yeah.
and I'd be reading and then I'd be
Yeah.
like dying, okay, cool, just got to get through this and then we get back to the books. And
Yes.
then yeah, I managed to get through that whole book and it just started something inside me like ignited and it was
Yeah.
like that's it.
That's it.
And
This is
I
something I have to do.
yeah, and then I devoured every single book in my library's YA section because
Yeah.
like it was before the internet was really big, so I like devoured everything. I like went through Sweet
Hmm.
Valley High, I went through Nancy Drew, Roswell, like anything and everything that I could get my hands on, I read. And the librarians used
Mm.
to laugh because I would go there, I would borrow 30 books, and I would read them all in the month and come back for 30 more.
Couldn't get enough.
I couldn't
Oh
get
my,
enough.
that's
I
like a
was like,
book a
I just
day.
need them. Yeah. And I would like just sit there and I was like, I just need it. And I don't even understand. Like I just was like, I need it and that's it. And I kept
That's
reading.
it.
And my poor parents, I needed music to read. So like I went through, I had my
Oh,
big Backstreet Boys phase, still have the phase, still love them.
yes. Yes, yes,
But that would be like
yes.
cranked up to full blast, and I'd be sitting there in my room with the door shut. And I didn't realize how loud it was until like getting. I was like, oh my God, my parents and
They
my
let
brother,
you.
they let me do it
Oh,
because literally would shut my room. Like the
yeah.
weekends, I would literally be in my room
Just
the
reading.
whole like Saturday, Sunday, just reading, and I would just pump through the books, and then I discovered writing as a result.
Aha. So you could
So
have your
like
own story.
yeah, I started like it was just this weird thing. Like it's almost fan fiction-y, but like I
Yep.
would write like different kind of, I guess, scenarios with
Yep.
like things that I would like, and it would be stuff
Mm-hmm.
maybe starting with like the Backstreet Boys and starting with like
Yeah.
stories, and then like all of this stuff, and I then discovered the Mummy. Like
Aha.
that was like so,
Mm.
when it came out, I was like, oh my God, this is terrifying. I don't want to watch it or anything like that. But they're like, it's really good. You need to watch it. You need to watch it. I was like, mm-mm.
No, I don't want
And
to do that.
then I was
Yeah.
like, all right, we'll watch it. And it changed everything.
Yeah.
I watched it. Then I had like an English teacher. If I didn't love just plain writing and I could tolerate teaching people how to write. Like I do that with the writing mindset coaching, but it's kind of a
Yeah.
bit different. Like if
Yeah.
I could tolerate actual like teenagers and doing all of that, I would be an English teacher because
Yes.
I had two English teachers that had changed my whole life
Yeah.
and
Mm.
they are amazing, but I actually started Faded Fragments when I was 14.
Yep. I love
So
that.
it
Yeah.
started as a scene where literally, and it's the book actually still has the scene to this day. So it is in the book there's a scene where Lily, Lucy, and Travis are actually in Lucy's room, and well, actually, I think it's changed from the room and it's in the lounge room. They read from the book, and the book has
Uh-huh.
changed. So essentially, it was some pieces of paper because I've had to play around with a lot of the story. But
Yep.
they read from the book, and they awaken a mummy, and said mummy
Mm.
comes after them, and that scene that is in the book is essentially still what it's like from when I first wrote it when I was 14, but it's just been tweaked a little bit, but it's essentially that's what started everything. And
Love that.
I played around with that story and then
Yeah.
left it and then came back to it and then
It never went
there was
away.
never went away. And then there
Yeah.
was various things where like my year 12 English teacher, I was so set on I'm going to do psychology. That's it. Like I love the idea of studying
Mm.
people and I,
Yeah.
didn't think I was very good at it, but I just loved the idea of psychology.
Yep.
And then my year 12 English teacher, who I love him, so I still call him Mr. B to this day. Like I cannot call him by his first name,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
like, I've been out of
I
school
know.
for nearly like 20 years, and so like I
It
still
feels
in my
weird.
brain,
Yeah.
he's always going to be Mr. B. In that moment, I realized how powerful words actually were. And
Yes.
like
Yeah.
from
Clear
there,
example.
I pivoted and I was like, okay, I'm going to try and get into this creative writing course at Flinders
Mm.
University.
Yep.
But I didn't get into it, which is
It's
it's
all right.
fine, but I did everything I could possibly do
Oh, you
that
did,
basically made that. So like,
yeah,
but
other
yeah, and
things.
from there, it essentially just that's it. Like Faded Fragments came
That's
to
how it
being.
began.
I finished the first full draft because I kept going back and forth. Every time I'd hit like 80,000 words and then I'd have to go back, or then 60, and I'd have to go back.
Yeah.
So
Going back. It's
I,
important, but it's just like a process, isn't
oh,
it?
it's just like, it's because
Oh.
it's just like, it's not enough. It needs to be more. It needs to
Yep.
fix, like, there was something always missing from it and I just couldn't figure out what it was. And it wasn't until I got through a full draft and was like, oh, it's missing a narrator. And like, I
Ah.
then went back and actually put Nefertiti's point of view into it, which was kind of fun to do because I actually wanted the antagonist correct to be the point of view, but that didn't work because I was like, I can't have people feeling things for him when he's the bad
Mm-hmm.
guy.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair.
but
That's fair. It would have been
that's
interesting. Maybe it
it
could
would have
be
been.
some other novella or maybe
I
something
could
like
add
that.
it. Yeah, I definitely could add it to the list of novellas that keeps growing every time I talk about the book. So,
Yeah, I think it's good to have a rotation of things that you want to get into one day because
yeah.
that one day will probably come. And I think
Oh,
that people would love to see that kind
yeah.
of stuff because it is so
Yeah.
interesting to hear the villain's perspective or the antagonist's
Absolutely.
perspective. I like to hear it. I
Yeah.
think that it's got a special place in my heart because I think going back to what you were saying about how you were interested about learning about people and you wanted to do psychology, it's interesting how I think you and I are very similar like that, where we want to know about people, but I think our ideas around how we want to know about people is more about the societies that
Yeah.
we inhabit. And so that's probably why, because I did a Bachelor of Arts and I majored in
Yay!
sociology. So that was pretty
Oh,
much,
that's
gender
fun.
studies and like
Yep.
women's studies for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that was the sociological part that itched that part of my brain.
That
Yeah, about
opened my
people.
brain to so much. Like, as
Yes.
a, like, even like, so I come from a very like strict Greek background where like
Yes.
essentially it's that whole like women provide, like,
Yeah.
women are the householders. They do, cook, clean, do all of that. And
Yeah.
it was such an interesting thing to go through women's studies and actually learn the other side. Like I was always really fascinated in women and the persecution of like essentially like witches and stuff like that. And that was always
Mm.
comes back to like the whole thing of women being, powerful women always being too much for
Yes,
the
it's a
world.
threat in some
Yeah, yeah. And
regards.
so it was
Yeah.
really interesting. And I literally just picked it because I couldn't, like, I exhausted all of the writing subjects I could do. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do women's studies. And I just
Yep.
did that. And Flinders was one of the, I think it's still to this day, is one of the only universities that calls it women's studies still, whereas everybody
Yes.
else does gender studies, which I
Yes.
found really interesting.
That is interesting.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I went the first year, I was like, all right, I'll do it. And then I made a really good friend. And from there, I was like, I'm just going to follow you in this class the whole way through. So we literally did it together the whole 4 years that we
It's
were at
awesome.
uni,
Yeah. Yeah.
which was great. But I learned so much and like got to study things like Buffy.
Yeah.
Because it was like, they're like women in power and like, obviously her
Mm.
being stuff like that. And then learning about
Yeah.
religion and like Christianity and like witchcraft and like all
Yes.
of this stuff. And it was all just so fascinating to be like, wow, like as a woman, like, growing up where you're told that you're one thing, but you also have this like equality because I have a younger brother and I've always been, brought up to be we're quite equal in some points.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But to then know that like that's not actually true in society and that we're
Yes.
actually seen as lesser.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's mind blowing.
It is mind blowing, and I think any opportunity to talk about it is important. And I think there is room for universities to potentially have a course that is just women's studies versus gender studies.
Mm,
I remember in sociology back in my classes, it was interesting because I remember doing a unit about men and masculinity, and I thought that was
hmm.
really interesting to see how the patriarchy affects that kind of experience. But there is so much history in regards to how women have been perceived and treated in society that it really does need its own kind of like
Yeah.
lane,
Yeah.
because same with like queer history and things
Yes.
like that. There's so much history around it. The intersections of it are important to look at as well. But yeah, I'd be interested if maybe more places that offer sociology do focus a lot
Yeah.
on the female experience as well. But of course, it doesn't exist in a vacuum, and then there'd be other
No.
things in that as
Yeah.
well to talk about
Yeah.
with like culture as well,
Yeah.
which is your
Yeah.
background. So, out of
Yes.
curiosity, and you don't have to go into detail about this stuff, but was a creative career something that was encouraged from your family as well, or were they a bit shocked that you wanted to do this writing, this creative mindset kind of thing as well?
I feel like I got really lucky because my mother and my father were always very much like, you do what you want to do.
Oh,
Like,
it's
we
so
don't
good.
care what you do, we'll support you regardless. So, like,
Yeah.
before my dad passed away 11 years ago. So,
Oh,
before he passed away, it was
yeah.
actually really funny because he was not somebody that said a lot of what he was feeling. It was very much shown,
Yeah.
but behind our not our backs, but behind like us, like when he was at work, he would talk about us to
Yeah.
his colleagues nonstop.
He'd be
And
so
so there would be
proud.
things where like I would do different, like I'd be like, oh, I'm doing this, Dad, or I'm doing this. And we went to like, my brother and I, after he passed away, we went to his work to go and collect his things because we were like, well, we might as well do it. And
Yeah.
we essentially grew up in like the mail room there because my dad was a he worked all through,
Yeah.
our lives and stuff like that. And sometimes there would be things where my brother would be in hospital because he has a congenital heart disease. So he would be in
Oh,
hospital
yeah.
and
Mm.
then be like, he'd be like, okay, cool, I'll pick you up from school and, you come back to work with me. So I'd be sitting there and I remember sitting in the mailroom, like,
Just helping out.
doing like coloring and they'd all be talking
Oh,
and I knew like all of his bosses and stuff. So like it was always like really nostalgic to be able to like go in there. And then I went and studied at that same uni. So I would see them
yeah.
around and I'd be able to like chat to them and stuff. And so like I'd see things behind the veil that others wouldn't see. And like, my dad, he would find me anywhere I was on the campus. Like I
Yeah,
could
he'd
hide
know.
nowhere. And so like
No.
sometimes he'd be like walking around and stuff like that. But he was very much very supportive. And even now my mum is very, very supportive. And
Love
I
that.
think it was quite
Yeah.
hard because I always just grew up with them being so like nurturing for everything. And then to kind of
Mm.
be thrust in something quite different where like my husband's family are very much like we just work and that's kind of it. There's no
Uh-huh.
like
Hobbies
creative.
or
Yeah, like and that's
yeah.
fine because like obviously
That's their
they
thing.
like collecting things and that stuff like that. Whereas I love like creativity and I love being able to like think about all of the different things and it's a bit jarring sometimes because I'm like, oh, I have to explain this because for me like it's normal,
Yeah.
but for them I'm like, oh, I have to explain that this is what happens with a book and this is all of the like
Yeah.
process to get this beautiful thing and they're like, oh,
Oh,
and
I
then they'll
didn't
ask
realize.
again. Yeah, they'll ask again. They're like, so wait, what are you doing now? And I'm like, oh, I'm editing. And they're like, again? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, it happens. Like,
Again.
yeah.
We don't
And that's the
expect
thing.
everyone else to understand, but we just do
Yeah, yeah,
it.
yeah. So like, it's really interesting. But like, yeah, I got very lucky that I was very much like, they're like, yep, you want to be creative, do it. Like we were,
That's so
and
great.
from the beginning,
Yeah.
Mum's like, yep, you're gonna do like good, and she
Yeah.
tells everybody, and they were always like, yeah, she's gonna do really well. And I'm like, don't say that. She's like, yeah, I had a like a I don't know, there was like a fortune teller or something that she was
Mm.
talking to, and she's like, "Yep, she's gonna make it. She's gonna do it." And I'm like, "Don't give me the false hope." She's like, "No, you're gonna do it." And I'm like,
But And you have,
Yeah.
because you've
Yeah.
published and then you're
Yeah.
going to publish
As
and
of
release.
tomorrow,
I
I'm gonna be a dual book author. I was like, oh my God.
I
Like I
can't
know it's gonna
believe
come out
it.
later, but like, oh my God.
I know, right? So this episode is probably going to air maybe like 2 weeks after it, but as of
Yeah, that's
when we're
fine.
filming right now, you are, well, to, as of tomorrow,
So,
you'll have a duology right now. I mean,
yeah.
there's
So
going
let
to
me
be
see. Hang
more.
on. I have a
Yeah.
countdown going. Let me see. I have
Oh,
4 hours and 18 minutes until I'm going to be a dual book author.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. After this, I'm going to have to do like a shout out on Instagram or something, being like,
Yeah.
we just had a chat. The book's going to come out. Faded Fragments is going to be not only itself, but it's going to be the next one, Fractured Pieces. Faded
Yes.
Fragments, new
Fractured
stuff,
pieces.
Fractured
Yep.
Pieces. We've got the
Yes.
gold, yellow, and then the
And
blue.
now I got the blue.
Oh, it's
So my
so
nails, they
exciting.
match. Like I'm literally so
Yes!
matching.
Oh, that's so exciting. Yes, you're going to be. Oh my God. Are you prepared for Saturday, the launch?
No,
Ah!
no.
Okay, that's the question done. No, tell me your thoughts around this.
Oh my gosh, I have so much still to do. I'm trying to finish all of my merch. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get like I have to do my thank you cards. I need to do bookmarks. There's so much to do. And I have to actually order the books. It's my first thing tomorrow is I'm going
Ah,
to order them
yes.
and
Yeah.
I have to pay extra for them to get here
Oh, yeah.
before. But like that's fine. That's
Oh,
fine. Like I can do that. That's okay. It's a
you got to
once-off
do it.
time. It's fine.
That's right. The things that we have to do as indie authors, if
Yeah.
in order to make sure that we look after our customers too, all falls
Yeah.
on us to
I know
get
it's
that sorted.
weird to like I'm ordering more books this time than I have the first time. So I'm a bit like, oh my God, what am I doing? And I'm
Mm.
like, this is a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's so exciting.
I
So you're going to
know.
have to make sure that they're all like after the event or whatever you've got left, you can stack them all nicely
Yep.
somewhere in the
Yep.
room,
I
have
know.
them on
I have a
display.
shelf where it's kind of like I don't know how I'm gonna make room because it's just got so much faded. I need to have faded and fractured all on the one shelf, and I'm like, I need a bigger
Yes.
bookshelf. My
I
husband
just
needs to let me buy a new bookshelf.
Yeah, that's right. I just realized I said this Saturday, but then I realized it's not this
Well, it's
Saturday
next.
that's the
It's
event.
next Saturday.
It's
Yeah.
the 19th of
Yes.
July because I was like, why
Yes.
can't I make
Because
it this
you're
weekend?
not here.
I
I'm so
know.
sad.
I'm in New Zealand. It's so annoying.
Rude.
So
It is so
the
exciting.
event is going to be, is it in the CBD
No,
somewhere?
it's in
No.
Ascot Vale. So it's on
Ascot
Union Road
Vales.
at a
Mhm.
little place called Lulu's Social, which
Ooh.
is a cute little bar. So
Oh, that's so exciting. So you've got a full like event, like it's going to be an
yeah,
evening
we
sort of
also have
thing.
signature cocktails. They've got canapes. I've got like
What?
it's all sorted. So it's so sad that you're going to
I'm
New Zealand. Like,
so
can you just
jealous.
move your flight to the next day?
I'm so annoyed. Not even joking. That's just, ugh. All right. Yeah, that's my loss. That's so my loss. So when book three comes out, please, please, please,
I'll be like,
please.
leave. You're not allowed to go
No,
anytime, all
you got
right?
to
You got to
tell
stay,
me.
Monica.
You got to tell me because I am not going anywhere. So I was going to ask you some more questions about
Yes.
um, the whole themes that are in both the books before we get
Yep.
into more of fractured pieces. So
Yep.
including both of these books, I'm curious now. I know that you reference the mummy as a
Yep.
big influence
Yep.
for writing fantasy worlds that are based on Egyptian history and things like that.
Yep.
Are there any other sources of inspiration for writing a book like this?
Oh my God, where do I start?
Yeah.
Like I have, yeah. I think I credit a lot of like my inspiration to my mum because she loved like a lot of the 90s, early noughties kind of like TV shows that were really big. So like Charmed,
Charmed.
Buffy,
Yeah.
Supernatural,
Yeah.
like any of those
She
like B
liked
grade
Lost.
movies. Yeah, not too much.
Not
She
too
might have watched
much.
it, but
Yeah.
I was not a big fan of that. Like I
Yeah.
loved she loved like La Femme Nikita too,
Uh-huh.
which also t like it's kind of funny because it ties into like the assassin, which is what book two is. So I was
Yeah.
like stuff like that, and then like she was very much like X-Men,
Yeah.
like all of that stuff, and then it would be like Sliders and Stargate and like
Yes.
all of those really like cool like gritty like fantasy-ish things. And I was really young, and I haven't put like somebody else made the actual correlation, but I didn't put two and two together because I used to love Stargate, Atlantis, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, hey, that's got a really thick like Egyptian." I was like, "What?" I go, I was so young and I had never like dawned, and
What?
I was like, "Oh,
Yeah. I
oh,"
don't
and I was like,
even
"Oh."
realize.
Yeah, and there's something like to do with that, and I was like, "Oh my God!" So like, I need to go back and actually start watching it and re like do the reruns
Yeah.
because I was like, "Hang on," and
Conscious.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my God!" So a lot of it's like book one was particularly was very much like Charmed,
Yeah.
kind of meets the mummy, kind of has the like backbone of like Buffy kind of standing up for herself kind of thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and a lot of like my background of doing women's studies, I've always wanted just really strong women
Yeah.
characters, and the progression through both Faded Fragments and Fractured Pieces, there's um a very strong feminine kind of energy to it, and I
Mm.
love that idea of
Mm.
women just doing what has to be done and coming out of
Yep.
the end stronger.
Yep. Yep.
But
Yep. All for
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's really important to show that. I know that it is like a popular trope with like the strong female main character. But
yeah.
sometimes I think that it's good to really put like a category even on that as well, because like strong is a word to describe all kinds of things. It's like, are
It's
we
so
talking?
subjective.
It is
It's
subjective.
so
And like, are we
subjective.
talking about the mental capacity and all the decisions that women have to make every day?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there is that part of it that sometimes I think actually literature does a better job at explaining that, rather than like you've got a strong main character that just has like all the powers and all like the,
Yeah.
the chosen one sort of thing. But when it
Yeah.
comes to the female strong main character, I think it's good to see there's a lot of mental strength in there as well
Yes.
that is explored, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that's explored a lot in your books as well.
Yeah, I tend to put like my characters through the ringer a little bit,
Yeah.
whereas like I feel very sorry for Lucy. Like she's the main character, and I remember writing the first few drafts and being like, what else can I throw at her? And I was like, I'm gonna put like, that she has a soulmate who they broke up because he thinks that she cheated on him, but realistically she almost gets raped and like all of this stuff. And I'm like, how much can I throw her? And then I was like, okay, cool, let's make her siblings dead. Like they're just
Oh,
so they're like
great.
I was just like, we'll just do that. And then okay, cool. She has a best friend, two best friends, and one of them has to get taken. So
Yep.
like I put her through the ringer, and it's just and then there's other stuff I can't say because then it
Yeah,
spoils
yeah.
it. But like
Absolutely.
it's
We get the
it's
gist of
it's
it.
so hard. But like
Yes.
it's I put her through so much, and
Yeah.
when I was rewriting it and kind of redrafting it, I was like, okay, look, we have to rein it back a little bit because, like,
Hmm.
teenage me was like, let's just throw everything at it. And then I was like, no, no, we're gonna rein it back. And so
It's interesting.
the scene where I actually have her almost raped got cut.
Okay.
It's
Yep.
sitting as like it's still there. Like I don't delete anything. It's still there. So like
Mm.
it's there. And um,
Mm.
in book two, I actually make a reference to it where Devon actually is a big part of it, in a flashback.
Mm.
So I've kind of tied that together where realistically it's not actually shown, but it's
Yep.
mentioned.
Okay. Yep.
And
Yep.
so like
Mm.
it's changed a little bit. It was more that it was like magically raped versus being physically and stuff like that. It's
Mm.
still a form of
Absolutely.
that. So it's
It's still abuse, it's still
yeah,
assault, but I
yeah,
think that actually can probably be something that is good to explore as well, the mental
yeah,
part of it too. I know
yeah,
that both are horrible and these topics are very sensitive as well. But
yeah,
yeah, there is room to talk about this stuff. So
yeah,
it's important to discuss it.
absolutely.
And I thought it's interesting that, you say that when you grew up, you enjoyed reading young adult books, but you are heavily, I guess, planted in the new adult genre for your
I'd
releases.
say
Yeah.
adult. It's firmly
Adult.
adult. Yeah,
Firmly
like the
adult. Yes.
firmly adult. Yeah.
Yep.
I straddled that line because a lot of the stuff that I read um before
You
I
would,
was like even
yeah.
I read so much, but like there was things where like the I guess the first really like adult-ish novel that I read was
Mm.
Laurel K. Hamilton's Anita Blake series.
Okay,
I don't know if you've
yes.
heard of
Well, I've
Anita.
heard, but I haven't read. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the I literally picked up this book because Mum loved reading too, and so like she went a bit deeper with the YA, whereas I kind of pivoted a little bit and I was like, okay, cool. And I essentially bought this book for her. And I went to like Angus and Robertson back in the day.
Yeah.
And I like was like, oh, this looks cool. And it was like an omnibus kind of thing. And I was like, all
Yeah.
right, cool. And I was speaking to like the lady there. And I was like, oh, is this a good book? She's like, yeah, it's pretty good. I was like, all right. And I like bought it
Yeah.
and whatnot. And then had to do the smuggling of it into that mum didn't know I actually bought it for her. And I, hid it under my bed, and then I was like, "Wait, I've finished all my books. All right, let's read this." And I cracked
Let's
it
read this
open,
one. Yeah.
and I started reading it, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "What have I done?" And that's when I fell in love with vampires, and like I was like,
Ah.
okay, cool. Like, what can I do? And I was reading it, and I had to like, she'd come into my room because as parents who just burst into your room.
Yes,
I
yes,
was like,
yes, yes.
and I had to like hide the book. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing,
And even though like
nothing."
they wouldn't be able to see what's on the page anyway. It's just the fear. You're like,
But like, so
oh
I'm
no.
reading this book, and then I had to like do the thing where I had to wrap it up and to give it to her for Christmas, and then like she opened, I'm like, I need the book back because I need to finish reading. And she's like, "What are you doing?"
Ah. And is it a young adult book? Is it marketed
No,
that way? No, that's
no,
what I
that was an
thought.
adult book.
Yeah.
So like, I just picked it up because like I just literally I burned through every kind of book that
Yeah.
I could possibly got through. Like I went through Twilight and went through
Oh
like
yeah.
I was like when Twilight was like I was reading when Twilight was in its heyday. Like
Yes.
the Twilight
So
came out. Like, I remember reading
when
like New Dawn and like it
yes.
being fresh off the like and I
Yeah.
like went through the whole Harry Potter thing where I like
Waited in
show my
line.
age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like, I finished Harry Potter in like, the last book. I finished it in like 26 hours. I literally probably slept for 3 hours and was like reading like
You had to
crazy.
read
And
it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and then things like Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead, that was
Yep.
like epic.
That
And
was
I
very
remember reading that,
popular.
and I still to this day am so proud that like I finished The Last Sacrifice, and which is the last book.
Yeah.
And I tweeted, and back then when Twitter was
Oh yes.
amazing, I
Yes.
tweeted at her being like, "Oh my God." And she replied, and I was like, "Oh my God."
Wow. You
Like
made it.
that was huge. I was like, "Oh my God, that's it. My crowning joy
That's
is
it.
that." And
I
then,
can drop out of school now. No
yeah,
problem. Yeah.
yeah. And then like discovered things like Rachel Vincent, who is one of my favorite urban fantasy authors. And she was kind of the one that her and Rochelle Mead kind of spearheaded like urban
Yeah.
fantasy for me. Um,
Urban
and
fantasy.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, and so I really loved that idea of a world where we live in is a bit mystical. It's a bit fun,
Yes.
like, and
Yeah,
so
just an added layer to the
yeah,
everyday mundane part of life. Not like life isn't hard enough, but add some
yeah.
magic to it and then whoa.
Whoa, whoa. And that's the thing. It's like it's why
Yes.
I kind of really love like the Nexus series. It's based in Melbourne. First one's Melbourne in Egypt. The second one is Melbourne with a little bit of Egypt,
Hmm.
and somewhere in the desert. I've been purposely very
A bit vague
like
with
a
that.
bit vague about it because I
Yeah.
was like, I can't pick somewhere. I have the Sahara Desert. I'm like, I need something else. So I've just
Yes.
said somewhere in the desert. So like it's kind of very like open to thing,
Could
and
be.
nobody can be like,
Yeah.
that's too, you can't go from that place to that place in yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
no, no. We don't need it. But
So
that's the beauty with books and writing and magic. You can kind
yeah,
of like get away with certain things. It's like, nah, you'll just have to think
yeah,
about how that
yeah,
happened. But,
yeah.
it could be, I don't know whether you can tell me to be quiet if I'm spoiling anything, but I could imagine what if it was like another dimension of
Yeah,
the desert
no.
world or something
No,
like
I
that.
wish, but we're
Yeah.
not that far into like that kind of thing.
Yes,
It's a bit cool, but
yes,
like, yeah, it
yeah.
doesn't quite fit in with the world.
No.
So,
Interesting. So it's
yeah.
somewhere in the desert,
Yes,
somewhere
so
that
somewhere in the
things take.
desert, but like I
Yes.
really like that like the whole like magic in my world is punishable by death. So it's
Yep.
forbidden, like you get found out, there's literally no trial, you get thrown into jail before you get walked to the gallows essentially.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Which I could imagine, like, honestly, if that was something that was more like if you could imagine that in life right now,
mm,
like if that kind of stuff
yeah.
happened, I could imagine that happening for people. They
Yeah,
would be like,
right.
nah,
And
too powerful. get rid of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
like, so I really like the idea of that. And I kind of like, as I was doing the blurb for Faded Fragments, I kind of like the idea of like, well, being different is basically punishable by death, which
Yeah.
essentially in the
Mm.
society, like you, if you are different, you do get ostracized. So
Oh,
like, it's very much
absolutely.
like, oh, I've unconsciously done this. And I was like, I'm running with it.
Yeah, yep. I mean, we and I'm spewing that we didn't do a book swap when we met
I
because
know. I literally got home and I'm like, what have I done? I was like, I could have swapped all these amazing
listen,
books with people. Like,
listen, our books I feel like are
I've been,
so similar.
I actually was just like I haven't look I because I've just been in the writing cave. Like
No,
I saw
no, no,
the
no.
book come
You
out
had
and
to.
I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, I keep hearing sip, I'm like, wait, water? What?
Water,
Huh?
the
I'm
water
like,
world, and then the
I
Egypt
was
world,
like,
because there's
yeah,
so
I was
many
like,
parallels. We've got the punishable by
yeah,
death, we've got the magic system. The
I know.
differences are the urban fantasy and then the high fantasy,
Yeah,
and then of course young adult and
yeah.
adult.
Yeah.
So you know what? There'll be a chance, so we'll be able to read each
Well,
other's books and
you're an
be like,
indie
yeah.
bookworm, right? In
No, I know
no,
everyone
what?
thinks that I am. Everyone thinks that I am because, and I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I literally always forget when events are coming up, and I didn't apply. I just didn't.
Monica.
I know. I'm just spewing, but I'm there next year. Actually, October's going to be massive as well this year for some
Oh.
stuff. Are you at the Sweet Love book fair?
No,
No,
no. I
they're
kind of was
fair.
like looking at that as more romance, and I was like, okay, romance is in my books, but it's not like the main plot, which is why sometimes the people
Yes.
are like, oh, you need to be, and I'm like, oh, but I'm not
Yeah, it is
like it's there, but it's
interesting.
not a big part of
Yeah.
it.
Because you could imagine, like, I think, part of my logic, which I know, okay, this is probably just the enterprising side of me, which is like, oh, there's like some romance in it. Not
Yeah,
really.
right?
There's
Yeah,
no spice. There, I
yeah,
mean, look, you don't just have to read it to make up your own mind.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
perhaps alluded to, but not really.
yeah,
Um, And then I thought, you know what? I think I was at the point where I was like, I think I should just apply for anything and everything at this point. And it's
yeah,
up to the discretion of the people
yep,
that are running it. So maybe that's also a tidbit of advice that I can offer. If you want to do
yeah.
something, just see,
Just
just
do.
apply.
Also, like
Yeah.
everything is like almost now booked out until 2027 because everyone's like,
Yes.
let's just do it. And you're like, oh,
You should just do it. Just
just do
any
it.
opportunity, just go for it. And also, speaking of like bookings and all that stuff
I love
till
events.
like
I love them. They're so
events.
tiring, but I love them.
They are so great. And also just like other opportunities as well. Can I just say,
Yeah.
I know this is like a plug for the podcast stuff that I'm doing, but
Yeah.
the I can't believe that I'm now looking ahead into 2026.
I
Like
saw that.
the
I was like,
later
how can I come
part.
back? How can I come back?
Exactly. You will. Anyone that's been on the show is automatically going to be, I will have to contact you to
Just
do
send me
it.
an email and be like,
Yeah,
hey, and I'm
yeah,
like,
we'll
yeah, I'm
book
there.
you in. But you know what? I don't think you'll be able to get in until probably like November. It's
No,
like
that's fine.
crazy sending
That's
out
fine.
like stuff to
Yeah.
people saying, and I had a response back being like, just double checking it's June
Yeah,
2026.
2026.
I was like, yes, I'm so
That was
sorry.
even when I like when I for this too, you're like July, and I was like, July's fine. Then I completely forgot when I messaged
It was
you, and I was like,
ages
you know
ago,
what? And
wasn't
I was
it?
like, yeah, and I was like, that's fine, I can do that. And then I was
No.
like, just make sure I put it in my calendar because
I
like
know, right? Yeah.
sometimes it's there and then I forget.
And I
And
forget too.
yeah, the last so I've had I was supposed to be on two other podcasts. I
Yeah.
had both of them. I don't know if it's,
Forget
I
or
feel like, no, I feel like it might be me. So I'm like, maybe I'm manifesting or I don't know. But
no, no,
like,
no, no, it's just busy.
both of them were like, sorry, we can't do it. We'll reschedule. And I'm still waiting for them to
Oh,
reschedule. And I'm like, oh,
yeah. And I
I want
think
to be on it.
it's really hard if we're getting into the indie author
Yeah,
life in general. It is something that I often think about that as well, where
yeah.
you make plans in advance, say for having people on podcasts, going on to podcasts, going to events, and sometimes like life just gets in the way because
But
it's
also
not your full-time job. Yeah.
past self was like, this is a great idea. Present
Yes.
self, not so good
Not
idea.
so good. Yeah. Yeah. Because health things can come up as well.
Yeah,
Like I think
yeah,
about like how there was the Clunes Booktown Festival this year.
yeah,
And that was, I didn't attend, like I went and visited for like a couple of hours or so.
yeah.
But the thought of me being there for 2 days straight was
Yeah.
kind of intimidating. And I say that like also this is a foreshadowing kind of thing because on the weekend I'm going to be spending 2 days in Ballarat
Yes, you
doing that. And I was
are.
like, I'm in a new
Exciting.
headspace at this point where I feel like I can do that. But
Absolutely.
I just don't know. At the time, I was
It
like,
seems really daunting.
it,
Like I
yeah.
did Supernova in Brisbane
Oh,
not last year, the year before.
hmm.
And I literally, because I was like my bestie Peter, who she also published her book. Um,
Yeah.
I literally was like to her, okay, look, you live in regional Queensland. We're gonna
Yep.
do Supernova. And she's like, okay. I'm like, you don't really get a say because like she's as introverted as I am, which is why we're like,
Yeah.
yay.
Mm.
But
Got
she
each
was
other.
like if I didn't do it, I'm like, no, we're gonna do this and it's
Yeah.
fine. I'll make a holiday out of it. I'll come see you for a week and then we'll go do this. Like, it'll be fine.
Yep.
And it was like I was like, holy, like I just was like going through the motions, being like, we're gonna do this, it's fine, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine. And then I was like, holy shit, like
It's a lot.
it was amazing. It was very tiring,
Yeah.
but it was amazing. And then we're like, okay, cool, we'll do next year. So we did last year.
Oh,
And
wow. That's so cool.
yeah, that was 3 days versus the 2 days. 3 days is so hard. It's
Oh,
like Sunday, we literally were like, people were like, tell us your books. It has
uh,
pages. It has things.
it's
Buy it.
Egypt.
The
Go.
I think I spent
Mummy.
more time. Yeah, I spent more time shopping on Sunday than I did selling because I was like,
See, that's the
I
hard
can't.
part because you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm in like in this area
And
where I
like,
can
yeah,
see
you go
some
through it and I'm like,
things.
well, what can I do? And I was like, oh, crystals. Okay, yes, crystals.
Yeah.
Tiaras, yes, okay. Oh,
Mm.
art, yes.
Mm.
Sometimes it's cool because like I got a whole bunch of earrings and I actually swapped a book for it. So like
Oh, see, you
this is
can
like
do some wheeling and
yeah,
dealing.
so like this is really cool. Where
Yes.
sometimes like you go with the barter system and you're like, hey,
Yeah.
I have this. What do you want for it? Or like, can I swap you? And like some people are like, yeah, great. So like, I
Yeah.
got a lot of books. I have now way too many books, but like
That's the
but
life. We gotta live
yeah,
that life.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so like, it's the thing is like all of the events are a lot. They're a lot, but they're great. Like,
Yes, supernova in particular is something that has piqued my interest because I remember
mm,
going to
yeah.
my first, oh God. Well, actually, the first kind of convention I went to here in Australia was one in Melbourne. It was the first Comic Con, and
Oh
that
yeah,
blew
yeah,
my mind. It was so
yeah,
hectic, but it was
yeah,
just like
yeah,
amazing. And so when I had gone to other events, and I had dressed up, as in like done the cosplay, but
yeah,
nothing
yeah.
super
Cute.
serious because I am a
So
big Sailor
cute.
Moon fan. So
I
I did
love
go to Sailor
that.
Jupiter. I love that. I've got like
Oh, I
my
love it.
manga over there on the shelf with like,
So cute.
Um, and I just loved it for the
Mm,
I didn't realize that how much of the stalls were dedicated for artists and writers
yeah.
and creatives, and that
Yeah.
was so exciting to see because you go there and you expect to get merch that is like the
Yep.
licensed stuff and
Yeah.
all that kind of thing, and see the other cosplayers and the outfits and things like that. But when you're there, it's like massive. So, have you ever
Yeah.
considered doing Supernova in Melbourne?
This is the thing. So like I've spoken to a couple of the vendors and stuff like that at Brisbane
Oh yeah.
and they were very, like they do the cons quite a bit and they literally were like and no shade to like the thing but
Mm.
they were like literally the best one that we have is Brisbane and I
Uh-huh.
110% can see that and I've spoken to people who've done Supernova in
Hmm.
Melbourne and other places and they're like yeah it just wasn't that great and I was like so
Interesting.
it kind of like backed up
Yeah.
what got told to me so I'm kind of like oh like yes it's so
Go
much
for
easier because then I don't
Brisbane.
have to
Oh yeah.
yeah like Brisbane is beautiful and I unfortunately yesterday just had to cancel my booking for Brisbane because
Oh
I'm like I can't
no.
do it with like everything so I was like and like
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's just much easier with somebody else because like
Yeah.
essentially the fee if you get the early bird like the early bird is it's like
It's a
$350 and like
lot.
between two it's a bit easier to kind of
Yeah.
like swallow knowing
Yes.
that you've got to do that and like even with
Yep.
like all the flights and stuff it's still a bit easier but if it's just the one like I can't justify the flights up there and back, the accommodation by myself, doing everything by no, no.
Yes, that's one of those things where I think about because at the moment, I'm weighing up whether to go to Adelaide for that. I think it's the Indie Book Festival or something like that. That's on.
Oh, the which
Yeah,
one was that one? Is
I
that
think
the
it's the one in October. The one in
that's coming up
October.
soon?
I
Yeah.
think so.
So
Yes.
I
Mm.
did the indie book festival in Geelong earlier
Oh,
this year.
Geelong, yeah. And how was
Yeah.
that?
I was quite lucky. I don't know if it
Oh.
was just the placement or the way that my stall
Mm.
looked or like whatever, but I sold quite a bit. So it was good for
Nice.
me, but
Yep.
other people that went were like,
It's not worth it.
wasn't
Okay.
very good. Like it was
Yep.
just like they have their hearts are in the great like the thing. Like I it was beautiful. It was fun to kind of see all of the like little authors and stuff
Yeah.
like that and talk to
Yeah.
people. Um,
Yeah. But
but
the
I just feel like it
yield.
needs the location just wasn't right.
Yep.
Like it needed to be somewhere a bit more. It needed to have a little bit more marketing, which is all
Yes.
like teething stuff. Like I think it's on the back end of like the big one that's in England where that is quite like it was quite big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
here it's a little bit smaller. So, you know,
Yeah, that's interesting to note that. And I guess because you didn't have to travel too far, there's an
yeah.
element of like, oh, the risk reward way up.
Yeah.
You kind of go, I'm just going to drive down to Geelong from where you are. It's
Yeah,
not
it's not
too bad.
no,
So yeah,
no.
Geelong is just like not that
Yeah.
far
I
from
got
me.
like I think it was if like I got quite lucky, but like there was an author there who she's beautiful, G.R. Thomas. And
Oh,
she was like,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love her.
Mm.
She's beautiful. And she was like it was not very good for her. And I was like, and she's been around for a while. Like she has
She
multiple books.
knows.
She's yeah, and
Yeah.
so I was like, oh.
I know, it's
Uh,
a
yeah,
shame.
it is a
But
shame.
it's hard. This is just one of the things that we have to make decisions on, where
Absolutely.
how are we going to, there's a few people that, for example, would have wanted to come to the Ballarat one, but made a decision and go, oh, it conflicts with other things that I've
Yeah.
got. It's in the school holidays, which can be
Yeah.
sometimes a win for some people. But if
Yeah.
you've got kids, it's really hard to navigate that stuff if you're going on holidays and all that
Absolutely.
stuff. So you got to make a
Yeah.
decision about what
Yeah.
is best for you. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
now that you've got your second book coming out, you'll have more merch as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
So I know that I think I joined the live. Well, obviously, yes, I know I joined the live
Yes.
too last week, and I asked about some merch and things like that.
Mm,
So that stuff has been organized for book two with fractured.
yes.
No, hold on, I'm saying
So
it right.
your fracture
Fractured
pieces,
pieces.
yep,
Yeah.
fracture pieces.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
right, I move away from F names for the rest of the books. It's just
Okay. I just got
I
to
don't
make
know what I
sure.
did. I was like, yeah, it's
Fragment,
fractured pieces.
fractured,
Fractured.
fragments, faded fragments, fractured
Yeah.
pieces. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
We're good. We're good.
So
Yeah.
I have a big love of essential oils. So I for book one because I was like, oh, everyone does candles and stuff like that. So for Faded, I
Yeah.
did scents. So I have a Nefertiti scent and a Lucy scent. And so Nefertiti's is quite like spicy, kind of like rich
Ooh.
florally kind of thing, and Lucy is very grounded, very kind of like citrusy, and it's like very her.
So
So
cool. You say very her, but I find that like you must have some sort of like
essentially,
synesthesia.
Lucy, yeah,
Yeah.
Lucy and I are very similar with like our scent. So I was like, oh, this is if
Yeah.
I'm like,
But
yep, I love this.
having
If
a
I,
scent for a character, that's
yeah,
unique. I haven't
yeah.
heard about that before. That's
I was
super
like, yes,
cool.
this is great. And now I keep seeing it pop up everywhere. And I was like, damn it, I should have moved on this
No,
better.
no, no.
Like,
But you knew what was best for you.
yeah,
Everyone has
yeah,
their thing, like again with like my book and the whole elemental magic and stuff.
yeah.
Like that has been, I get it. It's in a lot of
I
different
think
media.
just off
Yeah.
topic,
Yeah.
you need to get Peter Hawker's books, which is
Oh,
my bestie. Like she
yes.
does, so
I'll
her
write that
book,
down.
Unwinding the Spiral and Birthing the
Yeah.
Starcaller.
I feel like
Um,
I've seen her stuff.
She has her book's too far away, but it's like this
Yeah.
beautiful like the first one's quite light and essentially it's got elemental magic. It's Avatar. Oh my God, I'm gonna butcher this, but it's
It's
Avatar the
okay.
Last Airbender meets Priory at the Orange
Oh
at the Orange
yes.
Tree.
Yes,
That one,
Priory.
yeah,
Yeah, Priory
Priory
of
at
the
the Orange
Orange
Tree. There we
Tree.
go. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's a
So that's
fave of
like
mine. That's a
yeah, so you'll
fave.
love it and like it's a 4 characters
What have
POV.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna look that
And I
up.
love them. Like
Yeah.
I remember, yeah, it's anyway. That's
Yeah.
just Off topic.
I'm no, that is seriously on topic because we need to shout out some other people
Yeah.
here as
Yeah.
well in our, I mean, you hear me, I'm always talking about other authors here. But yes, I think if you've got a recommendation, oh yes, you know what? I have seen her illustrations before, as in like I've seen the
Yes.
book because of the
Yeah,
illustration.
yeah. So
Yeah,
she had
yeah.
her illustrator is one of her friends as well, or colleagues, and he has done book one, book two, and I'm like, can you just hurry up with book three? I need to see it so that I can finish my collection, damn
Oh my God, I'm seeing it
it.
now and I'm
It's
dying.
stunning.
Like, I
Stunning.
think I just need to reach out to her now
Yeah,
and
please do.
see if
Like,
you
and
can
just be like,
come.
Mandy sent you. And she'll be like, damn it.
Just
Be like,
shouting
I
out,
just I just sign her
hey,
up for everything. I'm like, every time I'm like, so you're
uh,
coming on for this, right? And she's like,
she's gonna
okay.
kill you, but I'm gonna
Please.
be sliding into her DMs and be like, okay, so 2027, can you come on the show?
Yeah.
Oh my
She's
God. Yeah.
she and I are on my live tomorrow when we're celebrating the book. So
Okay,
like she's
cool.
gonna be like, so
All right.
join. Yeah.
As you probably heard, I mean, I've shouted out my mum many times. I think she sounds like your mum, where just
Yes.
always wants to
I love
hype
it.
and be
Yeah.
creative and stuff. And, you
Yeah.
know, mum was pretty much well, she was the first person who uh, read Still Waters Run Deep, my debut novel, because it was like a secret
I
kind of
love
thing.
that.
Like I didn't
Yeah.
really have like the guts to tell anyone else about it, but she was there. So has your mum read your book, or is that like kind of like
This
off?
is a contentious thing. I'm like, Mum, because so when my dad passed away, she actually hasn't managed to come back to a book,
Yeah,
which is,
yeah. That's
understandable. She's lost,
totally.
the love of her life, and so like
Yep.
she's so cute. She's like, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
She bless her
Oh.
little soul. So like I was like, okay, Mum, I had like Amazon um versions, I had Ingram versions, and then I had a local printer version. She's
Yep.
like, I want one of all of them. I'm like, Mum, it's the same book. I want one of all of them.
I know, right?
She's
Bless
one
her.
of all of them. And so okay, and then she's like, and I want a hardcover. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh my
And she's
gosh.
like, here's some money. And then she's like, can I get two for the price of one? Like, can I get two for the price of one? I'm like, Mum, what are you
Mum, you're wheeling and
But
dealing and
she's
trying to
so
scam.
cute.
No,
And then
she's the
she's
best.
like,
Yeah.
she'll talk to everybody about it. And she's like, give me some books and I'll like sell it to people. So like, I'm like, here, Mum, here's 6 books.
That's
Like,
so
sign them all. So I
good.
signed them all. And then she's like, here's some money. And I'm like, oh,
She's the
thank
best.
you.
Love it. That is exactly what you need. And I'm sure your husband as well is super supportive of your books
Yeah.
too. Yeah. No,
And
I
like
love
my
that.
brother too, he's so cute. It's good that this is not coming out until after and
Yep.
after he sees the book because the book is actually dedicated to him. And he doesn't know this.
Oh,
I cannot keep a secret to
so
save my life. And I am
yes.
like dying. He made a comment. He's
He's
like, it's
gonna
not
die.
dedicated to me, is it? And I'm like, no, it's not. And I'm in my head, I'm like,
No. It actually is. Oh, there
sorry.
you go. Shout out
He's
to your
gonna
brother.
shout to my little brother, my little
Oh,
Peter. He's so
that
cute. He's
is.
gonna like when he sees I've been trying, I'm like,
You're gonna
I
have
just
to
really
do
want to show
like a.
him. I'm so bad. Like every time I like want to. So
Oh,
like, oh, I'm gonna actually when he comes next week because they're coming
yes.
down for the launch.
He's
I'm gonna be
coming
like,
down.
okay, here you go, and he'll be like, what? And I'm like, open it. And he'll like
Open
look at
it.
it, and then
He'll
she'll
be
probably
like,
start
off the
crying, and then
book. No.
I'm gonna cry, and then I'm gonna be like, God
Oh,
damn it.
do you reckon you might be? I know this might be like the voyeuristic kind of approach, but it's like, I mean, if you filmed it, that'd be really
I know. I
sweet.
kind of like. I'm like. I want to try. I'm gonna be like. I'm gonna see if I can get Mum. I'm like, Mum, hold the camera. It's all you have to do. And then
Yeah,
she'll probably start sobbing too. And I'm like, just hold the camera. I just need you to
that's
do that for
that would be even better. That would be even
me.
better if everyone starts
So,
sobbing because that is
yeah,
so special that it's
yeah,
dedicated to your brother. And I think it is
yeah,
really important to, if your family wants to be involved with it or special friends, like
yeah.
that's the best part of having
I
complete
actually, yeah,
control.
I
Yeah.
love that, and I think this is so great. Like the first book, I was initially when my dad was still alive, I was going to dedicate it to my English teachers because I was like, they
Yeah.
are the whole reason this book exists. But
Yeah.
then Dad passed away, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do as a dedication to Dad. And I didn't tell Mum because I knew. And as soon as I like she came over and I was like, hey, look at this, and she saw it and she started bawling her eyes out. And I'm like, oh, come on,
Oh, I
like.
know. How
So
can you blame? You
it's,
can't blame her.
I know,
You can't
I
blame her.
know. So it's
Yeah.
like I kind of
Yeah.
like the acknowledgements, like the dedication is always really special. And I've having been on the end of that where I had a lecturer in uni dedicate a book to me, which was so wonderful. And I was like, oh.
How
And then Pete,
special.
like my friend Peter, she like,
Yes.
I was a champion of that book for ages, and I like I'm a bit like crazy. Like she literally put it on her website and I like bought it before she even like, because I was just perusing. I was like, oh, it's
Love
on
it.
there. And I'm like, I bought it. And so like I bought the first copy that was like ever. The
Oh,
first order. And then I even went on Amazon and she was like playing around and I bought the wrong copy of I was like, and she was
oh, but
like, oh
still.
God. But then like, and I like waited and I think I was like peak COVID when it came out because I had COVID
Yes.
for the first time.
Oh,
And
great. Mm.
I was like, it was like I had like gone in and out of sleep and I was like, oh, it's midnight. The book's in my thing. And I went back and I like
You did it.
was like, okay, cool. And I'm gonna go through. And I didn't know didn't say anything. And like, this is a woman who like she would pick up like she literally FaceTimed me when she pulled the book out of the sleeve and she's like crying. And I was like, oh my God, the book is here. Like it was like I like it was beautiful. And like I went back on my Kindle and saw it and I like burst into tears because it says to
Yeah.
it literally says to Mandy like without you. And I was like,
I need to read this book now. Like
I love it.
with
Like
that dedication
I'm
to
the
it.
biggest champion. I was like, everybody needs
Yes.
to read this because it is like the shit. Like this book
It is. It
and
looks
to like
amazing.
actually, and this is what I love. Like I've done a couple of beta reads for my friends, and I've seen the progression of the book be like it's half baked, like it's there and it's
Yes.
in its raw form. And it's what I really love about coaching too, is that you watch the book kind of form, and it's in
Yes.
its like raw form, and then going from that and then going to the published finished version is mind blowing.
You
Polished
just
with
saw
beautiful
the
things.
progression and it was so satisfying for
That's
you.
what I love.
How
And I
beautiful.
love that
Yeah.
about like coaching and being able to help people get through to that like little nitty bits of like, they're like, I don't know how this
Mm.
works. And I'm like, hey, let's work it out and we'll nut it out. And then we do it and we're like, oh my God,
So along with your own writing stuff, you're also coaching. You're also
yes.
coaching that as well. And it's Dreaming Fully Awake. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yes, that's the
yeah,
handle.
yeah,
And
yeah.
people can find that on your website too.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
So
Okay,
it's
so it's
all
all
on
there.
there.
Cool. So tell us about Dreaming Fully Awake.
So I thought, like I obviously with all of my background of like academic stuff, I really wanted to give back to all of the things that I've learned and how to kind of, I guess, tailor stuff. And I really love being able to champion other writers. So the whole thing was very much a let's do this thing of like, oh, I have all this knowledge. I'm like, what do I do with it? Like I've
Yeah.
spent
You've
years of,
studied.
years of my life studying, and I know like the intricacies of like writing and how to
Yeah.
develop characters and how to do like, make setting over, setting be a big part of the plot and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I just was like, let's just start it and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I, kind of yo-yoed a little bit. So I've gone like, yes, I've done, bits and pieces of the people and then gone quiet because I've kind of like focused on stuff. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
diving back into it again.
That's
And
exciting.
I have a couple of clients which are really, really like they're lovely. And it's so fun to kind of dive into their stories that are so different and
Yeah.
each kind of session. So it's set up as a like there's a month little teaser that's kind of a little bit cheaper on the spectrum so that then you can kind of get a taste for what it's like. And if you like the idea of working with me, I then have 3, 6, and 12-month coaching packages. And you essentially
Nice.
get with the tiers get a like different aspects of it. So I have a storyboard method where basically it's like all of my knowledge put into a little method of how to do and put together a book essentially.
Yep.
There's like personalized coaching. So every fortnight we can basically what you it's worked around what people actually want and what they need. So
Yeah.
whether
What
it
their
is
goals
like
are too,
yeah,
probably.
so whether
Yeah.
it's like, okay, let's sit down and nut out chapter by chapter, or maybe you just want to sit down and we can write. And so I kind of use a bit of like body doubling too. So like
Yeah.
I'm like, cool, well, we'll do this together. And
Mm.
it kind of goes through and if even if it's just literally I just want to talk, okay, we'll just talk. Like it's
That extra
literally
motivation.
yeah.
Yeah. So you're not
So
just sitting
it's
there talking to yourself and sitting at the computer being like, I don't
yeah.
know if this is working.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just that little bit of like, just being able to actually have people not feel as lonely. And there's a little bit of
Yeah.
like intuitive editing. It's not like actual like fine editing, but it's more kind of like a
Like a,
manuscript appraisal kind of
yeah. Like,
thing.
how
So
can we
I'd
push
read it,
it?
be like, this needs to fix, need to fix this, or like this is really great. Let's like work on that and stuff like that. So it's kind
Yeah.
of that, and you get that thrown in as well.
That's awesome. That is so exciting. I'm glad people can learn more about this. And if they want to know more, they can go to your website, which
Yes.
is
Is
it? Oh, you say.
streaming, yeah, it's streamingfullylike.com.
Yep.
And you can go to the work with me little pod
Tab
little
thing.
tab thing, and
Yep.
it'll go through. There's a couple of things that are there. There's like you can go through to like the writing apothecary, which is essentially the whole
The whole
part, and then
thing.
you can guys see, yeah, you see I have different the packages, and they're all under different names. They're kind of like a bit medicine-y because I feel like,
Yeah. You're
it's
making
it's
something.
yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so
I
it's
love
kind
that.
of like my the it's the same name as my podcast, which is the Writing Apothecary, and I kind of go through
Mm.
if you don't mind me plugging that as well.
Please, absolutely plug. Yes, go, go, go. That's great.
So that is essentially, again, it's everything that I've learned, but I've kind of come at it as a way of kind of giving back to the community in a free way. So like essentially, I go through the different aspects of writing. So I need to get back to it again. But it's essentially breaking down the like character, setting, plot, the different
Yeah.
points of a story.
So
And so
cool.
there's like an introduction, there's two theory lessons, and then it actually ends with a interview with somebody where it's based about around that. So it could be like,
Ah,
for example, the first one was like Peter, and she was about um, crap plot or something like that. But
yeah.
I've spoken to like a lot of like
People.
indie authors and like people who are published and non-published. I have one coming up when I get to it. It's going to be like based around editing, and I'm actually going to be interviewing my editor.
Ooh,
And
that's
yeah,
gonna be
which is fun.
good.
So like at the moment,
Yeah.
the podcast is focusing on, taking a bit of a step away from that. It's focusing on writing processes of indie authors. So I actually have a backlog that I need to finish editing because editing
Oh
is always
yeah.
the hardest part of a
It
podcast.
is. It is. With everything. With
With
everything.
everything,
Oh,
like yeah. So, but that's kind
absolute
of fun to
dream.
go through and see a lot of people's different approaches to how they actually
Yes.
go about their writing, and most of them are very chaotic and very like pantsy and kind of
Yeah.
working through it, whereas some are actually quite methodical and plot their whole book to a T. And I was like,
Oh,
holy crap, how do you do that? How can you teach
mm,
me how to do that?
that could
Like, I
never
know
be
how to do
me.
it. Yeah, I know how to do it. I could teach somebody to do it, but I don't know how to do it. Like,
No,
I need very brief, rough things
give me a rough
to,
outline. Yeah.
yeah, like literally, I work with sticky notes, like all over,
Yeah.
like,
I'm sure
I've
they're
got like
there.
a, I've got them there. There's
They're
literally
everywhere.
sticky notes of stuff. And it's literally, it'll be like, I think one of them is, what's a non-spoilery one? Uh, eh,
If you can't share it,
uh,
that's totally fine. They're all part of it. So,
I've got Melina and Dad safe, and nobody will understand that, so that's fine. Like,
cool.
so
Those
it's
little
literally
notes.
that's yeah, it's literally notes like
Yeah.
that, and sometimes they end up being like a character, sorry, a chapter
Yeah.
thing, or they're a part of a chapter, and it's kind of like I work back from that, and so a lot of it is
Perfect.
quite very roughly fleshed out, and then I'm
Just
like, okay, cool, how do I make
drafts.
that? And then
Yeah.
I like to leave it open for the characters to do what they want to do. So like I've had
Yes.
in book three, which I already have draft and I need to go
Ooh,
back.
I like
But
that. That's super
I
cool.
yeah, I look at the end of the day, I actually have all of the books of this series done in first draft.
Whoa, that is a bit of a spoiler right there. That is pretty
I know,
amazing. There's
I
your
hyper
first.
fixated on it. Like it was literally, I'm not finishing Faded Fragments. Let's finish the rest of the series.
Right.
So I've essentially done that, and the only book that
Oh,
probably
so
is
cool.
not completely done in first draft is book four, which is
Do you know, it has taken me almost, I'm going to say I started really getting into this current book that I'm writing
hmm
in late 2023, and
Yep.
I'm just almost about to hit 70,000 words.
It's okay,
It
slow and
has
steady.
taken, that's
Slow and
me.
steady. It
I
wins the
am a
race.
slow and steady kind of person, but
That
that is
makes
my life.
look look, if it makes you feel any better, I published Faded Fragments from the start time I started it, which was, I was 14.
Yep,
I published it 21 years later.
exactly. It doesn't matter
So
how long it
like
takes. It
it
doesn't
doesn't
matter
matter
how long
how
it
long, and this
takes.
is the thing is like it was so funny. I was at the Ash who does the indie book booth
Yes, yep,
or
yep.
the book booth stuff. She had an authors networking event, and I went first time scary as as not Mandi Kontos, the author, as Mandi Kontos, the
Yes.
writing mindset coach.
Yep.
And that was terrifying because I was like, you know what, cool, I'll do it. I put my money in. I was like, I'll be a sponsor. It's fine. She's like, you're on a panel. I'm like, all right, brilliant. We'll be on a
Oh.
panel. And I was like,
Mm.
holy shit. And it's so funny because like
Yeah.
obviously everybody else is they've had like lots of time in the industry and stuff like that. And a lot of people were like, there was a question like, how long has it taken you to like publish? And everyone's like, oh, 2 years, 1 year, like, and I was like, it came to me and I was like, 21 years. They're like, what? I was like,
Was that
yeah.
this year that you did
Yeah.
that? I
Yeah.
think I was
Did you
there.
go?
I'm
Oh.
sure I was there because I'm pretty sure it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And they had the flash tattoo. I mean, I got a
Yeah,
tattoo,
yeah,
don't
I
forget.
got a tattoo. I got a tattoo too.
Eee,
Like,
so
yeah.
good.
I literally took a
Yeah.
photo of it and my mum was like, what? And
What
her
have
brother's
you
like, you got
done?
one without me. And I was like,
Oh, I love that though. The last kind of thing I was just going to get you to do is just plug where your events are going to be,
yes.
upcoming events, where people can
Yep.
find you
Yep.
and where people can find you on social media as well.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess the next ones will be obviously I've got my book launch next week on July 19th and this will come out after it, which is fine.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
so I've got that. I also have an online book launch. So if you wanted to join that, that is on August 3rd. I am
Yep.
also going to be signing at 1,000 Lives on the 2nd of August. So I'm doing that with J.A. Jude and Mazarina Maris. I've coerced them both to be like, I'm going to sign you. You need to come. They're like, okay.
Okay.
Then I have my Adelaide book launch on August 9th.
Yep.
So that one is, if people want to come to that, they can come to
Yeah.
that.
Hey.
And then I'm going to be at the Indie Bookworm event, Chapter 4 at Showtime Event Centre on the 23rd of August, I think it is.
Yes, I
Yes,
believe
yes.
that's
So
it.
23rd of
Yes.
August. So that's essentially all of the events that I'm doing this year, which is still a lot,
Yes, it
but
is. It's
it'll
huge.
be fun. It's
And you can
huge.
remember all of that too. It's
Yeah, I
amazing.
know. I know. My
Yeah.
brain was like, hang on, hang on. I've got quite a few coming up next year as well. So, I'll quickly I've got the big
Yeah.
book event, big energy book event,
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds familiar.
big book energy.
Big book
Um,
energy. Is
yeah,
that
which is,
in
that's in Adelaide.
Adelaide? Yes.
That's
Yes. Yes.
early January. Then I'm doing the 1,000 Lives book, convention in April. So that's
Nice.
kind of all I've got kind of sorted. And I was like, I think I need to like relax a little bit and maybe like actually write,
Yes.
finish book three a bit more.
Then you
Like,
can focus on book three after that.
yeah, yeah.
Seems like you've got,
Or I've
yeah.
decided to maybe go and do a novella or some standalone. I can't write standalones, but I'm sure I could try.
You never know what's on the cards. And one thing about you is that you're just going to do, if you're going to be fixated on it, it's going to happen.
Yeah,
So
exactly,
that is
exactly,
exciting. Well,
exactly.
Mandy, I should say a massive, massive thank you for being on my show. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you taking time out of your schedule because I know it's hard working.
Yes.
You're in the office today and
Yes.
now you've come on my show. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate that
Aw.
because with indie author stuff, we wear many hats
I
and
feel
I
like it's like
really, yeah,
we finish the 9 to 5 and then do the 5 to 9.
exactly. That's what we
So
do.
yeah,
And the weekends are usually spent doing more work.
yeah,
So I really
yeah.
appreciate everything that you had to
No,
say
thank
today,
you.
Mandy. It was so interesting hearing about your backstory and also about how the Faded Fragments saga, the Nexus
The
series,
Nexus series.
started when you were so young, when you
I
were
know,
14.
I
It's just
know, I know.
amazing. Thank you for being on the
Thank you.
show.
If
My
anybody
pleasure.
wants to follow me, they can come and follow me at Mandi Kont. So it's Mandikont, and that's across like not Facebook, Instagram,
Yep.
TikTok, Threads. On Facebook, it's Dreaming Fully Awake, but a lot of it's
Yep.
just kind of from Instagram. So
Yeah. It's right. You can find you
yeah,
there. And I'll
yeah.
make sure
And
to
then
link
if
to
not,
all of this.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can just find me at Dreaming Fully Awake, and that's got everything. You can buy my books from there.
So thank you
Yes.
so much, Mandy.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.